Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. This is intended as a support, especially for solopreneurs. And this morning, we're going to talk to another solopreneur who lives in the same town as I do. And I invited him along and suggested that I might interview him. So, but before we do that, perhaps we could all introduce ourselves. So, David, you want to go first?
Yes, if I can figure out how to keep this. For some reason, I don't get my mouse to come up correctly. But anyway, I'm Dave Flannery with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses. I work out of Rock Falls, Illinois, and right now we have both streaming on YouTube and on the website.
Right on. Thank you.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
Vivek, I'm gonna leave you to last, Matthew, because we'll just get into it. So, Vivek, would you like to go next?
Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. I am proud to share my belief with the Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology Limited is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential. So that's my elevator pitch.
And
So
you're into time change in the UK.
yeah, I'm in England, United Kingdom, and yeah, we did change our time back to. I mean, the summer is over, sadly. So
So, David, you had your hand up.
Yes, we're only showing half the screen in YouTube and on the website
Yes.
with people. We're not
Yes, I
full width.
know. And it's because I haven't gone to full screen yet.
Okay.
Now you should see the whole thing. Yeah. Oh, and while we're at it, Javita is with us out in YouTube land, and she's with us from Mumbai, India. So good morning, Javita. She says good evening. So, Fred, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank Lola. And I'm Fred Jones, creator of Our Future Leaders, where I assist young people to gain communication and leadership skills so they can become the leaders that our world really needs. As you notice, the world's going through a lot of changes. I'm currently on a boat, which is owned by my friend up in Ladysmith, up on Vancouver Island. So I'm not far from Victoria, but it's about an hour's drive.
Uh-huh.
And it's been raining and
Mhm.
makes it interesting on the boat.
Mhm.
Makes me think I'm been camping because I can hear the rain on the roof or on the tent if
Yeah.
it was a tent.
Yeah.
But I'm
Right.
enjoying it. I really enjoy the boat. I get into a wonderful routine. It's just I don't
Yeah.
know. It works for me so well.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I'm
Perfect.
looking forward to hearing Matthew today because I've over the years got to know him sort of, but I think I'm gonna get to know a lot more about him today. So I'll
Mhm.
look forward to
Great.
today's session.
Right on. So it's so nice to see you with good internet connection there, Fred. Right on. So Nathan, you got in just in time.
Under the wire as such, eh?
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. So my name is Nathan Siegel. I'm in Mexico, about as far from Victoria as you can get. Well, with the exception of Vivek and sorry, I've forgotten her name, but I'm about 3,000 miles away from Victoria. So I figured that counts for something. And my thing is just writing and publishing and marketing. So just in the middle of a bunch of projects right now.
Hmm.
So that's it.
Right on.
Yep.
So is it like I sort of forget, you're not really into winter in Mexico, are you?
Well, we're officially in fall, and a few days ago, the temperature changed, gracias a Dios, where it broke. So in the mornings, the temperature drops right down quite a bit into the teens, low teens,
Mhm.
and then it suddenly bumps up about an hour later by about 10 degrees, if you can believe it. And then it just sits there and kind of gradually warms up throughout the day. And the afternoons are pretty warm, sometimes hot, but the mornings, as of late, have been just gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sit out on the deck with a cup of
Mhm.
Joe in my
Mhm.
shorts and t-shirt, and
Never
it's
mind. Now
wonderful.
stop that.
I'm allowed. It's not my fault that you're still in Canada.
Well, you've got, I mean, people need to know that we in Victoria are in the warmest place in Canada.
I know that,
So,
which is still freezing cold to those of us who
no.
have acclimated to being down
But you know
south.
what? The leaves,
24 degrees is cold to me now.
yeah. But the leaves have not fallen yet.
Oh,
So we're still into fall. So
yeah,
right
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Vivek.
I just wanted to wish Jivita happy Diwali.
Aha, happy Diwali, Javita.
Yeah, Diwali, that's a great holiday. I've had a lot of fun that way.
Yeah. Do you want to say a little something about what Diwali really represents, Vivek?
It actually represents it's a festival of lights, effectively. It represents triumph of good over evil.
Okay,
So
it's a positive time.
yeah.
Right on. Cool. So I might just introduce myself as your elder geek. I love working with retirees who want to have an online business. So now I want to officially welcome Matthew Powell. And I was trying to remember when and how you and I met. It must have been at Host, I think.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks, Lolan. Thank you first off for asking me to be interviewed on here, because I've watched and admired your circle from afar, and I know some of the people here, obviously. But you and I met at Host. That's where we first met, home office support team, and I remember one year where you've been president of it for a number of years, but I had the pleasure once, and we were kind of looking at each other going like, what are we going to do next? And you stepped up and were a huge support, and it wouldn't have been able to go forward without you.
Oh.
So you impressed the heck out of me, and then we did some work together. We were working on trying to get a book done, but it didn't really get off the ground.
Yeah, Marilyn, you and I, Marilyn, were working on a project a long time ago. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I still have all those notes. Actually, we need to collaborate on those again. And there's another unfinished book with Nathan, actually, for traveling to Mexico. So yeah, lots of projects that are kind of there, but
well.
However,
so and as I don't know what we connected on, whether it was Facebook or somewhere just recently, and it suddenly occurred to me, I think Matthew, I should see if I can rope Matthew into an interview. So
well, I've signed up to receive your newsletters all the time, Lolan. So every Tuesday I get a notification about your meeting, and every Tuesday I have a client meeting at 9:15, and I cannot get them to budge. However, our business is going to be coming to an end in a couple months, so I intend to join here every Tuesday.
Perfect.
So,
but that happens. I mean, I'm connected to quite a few people, and we've talked about trying to collaborate, and it turns out that they're doing something, and I mean, you just can't find a time that's perfect for everyone. There's just no way you can do it
until they perfect cloning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So let's get started. And the first thing I really wanted to ask you, I mean, you were here when I came here, which was back in 2003. Did you grow up here in
No,
Victoria?
no, I grew up in a little town called Horsefly, BC, and Horsefly. Only about a quarter of the people I actually talk to know where that is. It's up right in the middle of BC, close to a place called Williams Lake.
Okay.
I grew up there, and I left there when I was about 15. And
Mhm.
when our family left, about a quarter of the population dropped because it's that small. Not really. It's 800 people up there, lots of
Mhm.
logging and farming and so on. So I came to Victoria because that was about I was 23. So good grief, that was 30 years ago now. So this is my town. Like I
Mhm.
adopted it, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean, I'm a Victorian through and through.
Mhm. Well, I certainly gathered that, especially looking at you provided a link to 3 websites, and I noticed that there was one called Retirement Victoria, and there are some wonderful pictures on there. I was really, really impressed. So, that was going to be one of my questions. Did are you working with somebody doing photography, or are you into that too?
I'd like to be into photography, but I'm not that good at it. I
Mm,
don't know. My pictures never quite work out the way I want them to. So I work with my project manager Isabel Prunkel, who's an
mhm,
excellent photographer, and also with Luke Cardinal,
mhm,
who has a company called Go for Virtual.
mm.
Together, we produce some really great photos, and we also ask for
Oh,
submissions from people, and we'll buy photos.
mhm,
As
mhm,
So yeah, we're wanting to feature Victoria because at one time, I'm not sure if the stat still applies, but quite a number of people wanted to retire in Victoria or on Vancouver Island, being as it is the California of Canada. It's
mhm.
generally quite lovely, and so we we started to do that because we just kept meeting people who were either moved here recently or wanted to move here.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but like I say, I mean, that website really features Victoria in a very positive way. I mean, how could anybody not want to move here after seeing all of
I
those?
know.
So, uh, so I was I was curious about whether you were born here or whatever, but so you've been here most of your life.
Yeah.
Um, so what made you decide to go into being a solopreneur?
Mm. Well, it started when you and I met actually at Host. Not too long after I became a solopreneur, I met you.
Mm,
But how it happened was in 2004, 2001, I went back to school. I went to Coastline College for a while, and I met a lady named Barbara Aristo, who was really looking for something different to do because she'd been the managing editor of the student publication for, oh gosh, 15 years, and she wanted a new challenge. So
mm-hmm,
she and I were good friends. I'd worked with her as a writer and also as an advertising manager up to
mm-hmm.
that point. And I think it was I who found something called Diamond Life, which was kind of a little a rag. That's kind of a little newspaper rag for
Mm-hmm.
seniors. It was fine, but I brought it to her and I said, there's really not enough good quality publications around seniors. So well, why not? And so in 2004, she started the company and I helped her start it. It was
Mm-hmm.
called Senior Living. And I worked with
Oh,
them for
really?
8 years.
You're
Yeah.
involved with senior living?
Yeah,
Wow.
no, I helped them to start it, helped
Mm,
them to launch. I was the advertising guy. And,
mm,
the first month we went out and, we were pounding on the streets. I was talking to everybody I knew about this magazine we were going to launch, and people wouldn't, they wouldn't sign up for a year's contract because who are you and what are you going to do?
right.
But we managed to drum up $7,000 in the first month, and then we never looked back. It's now called they've now renamed it
Ah,
55 plus lifestyle.
right. 55 plus lifestyle. Okay.
Almost my magazine in 2 years.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, I did that for 8 years, and I worked with them. There was a shift going on in the world. obviously, more and more people were discovering online digital advertising. And of course, as you all know, digital advertising is a lot more trackable. It's a lot more, you can dive down deep to see what your consumers are doing.
Mhm.
And so while I was selling print advertising, I would have to supplement my advertisers with more and more services, whereas I would be doing things like writing articles for them. I'd interview them, and I'd get it out there on their website or on our own website. And I started to notice that a lot of times the digital advertising was more effective than the print. And so at that point, I made another tradition. But basically what happened is I started a little company called Writing Impacts, which was just about writing content for people who needed it. And it evolved into Coastline. So I did that in 5 years ago now. I've been on my own for 5 years.
And I should have said that right from the very beginning. Your business is called Coastline Marketing.
Well, I should be doing what you guys are doing. I should have a nice little sign in the background. I'm going to catch up to you guys, by the way. I'm going to have it all set up.
So I don't want to hog the limelight here. So I'm just wondering whether anybody in our circle here has any questions for Matthew. What would you like to know about him?
I can ask Matthew. Matthew, I think you have a lot of, I'm not saying a lot of children, but children have been very heavily involved in your life. Maybe you could just tell us how the work and the children go together, if there's any match or challenges with that, because I think you've done a lot of parenting as well as running your own business, and that can be interesting on its own.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. Yeah, that's a really good question, because working from home isn't always easy, as you guys know. Even right now, I have a 5-year-old out in the other room because he did this last night. He decided to cut his own hair. Yeah, I turn my back and I come back and I look at his head and go like, did you put some water on your head or something? And I look and, oh, there's a big pile of hair on the table, and he figured it was a good idea. So he's not at school because he's afraid the kids are going to laugh at him. I almost sent him anyway. But the secret really is teaching kids when I'm accessible and when I'm not, and that's tough to do, obviously. But when the door is closed, they know that I'm working, and they'll knock, and you might hear a knock while we're talking here, and they know not to come in, and that's really the best I can do, because I chose this life because I wanted to be accessible to my kids. I wanted to be here for them. And obviously, while the pandemic was raging and the kids were home, it got more interesting. But fortunately, my wife was able to take some time off of work as well. And so between the two of us, we were able to manage it. Otherwise, I'd be lucky if I could get in 5 hours of work a day. And it mostly has to happen at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. When the kids come home from school, all hell breaks loose, pandemonium. Am I allowed to say that online here?
Of course. You have 3 children?
I have 3, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fred, I have 3. I don't have I stopped at 3. The third one was a bit of an oops, and that was it. We were done. But no, it's both a joy and a frustration, because when you're on deadline, you have to figure it out. But so far so good. I've thought about getting a little office somewhere. The bigger problem for me, and I think you guys can all relate, is how to separate work from life. So I grab my coffee.
You can't separate it.
I have to admit, I haven't been able to find a way. I grab my coffee and I say, okay, I'm on my 2-second commute into my office. So this room is dedicated to just work, both for my wife and I. And we try to keep it separate from the kids. We also have the kids in our lower area of the house, and we're on the upper level. And so we're kind of, we're not putting up barriers per se, but we're kind of making different spaces. So I was lucky to be able to do that.
That's really, really important. I remember back years ago when I was an employment counselor and having to advise people who at the time thought they were going to work from home. And I remember really having to emphasize how important it was to have a separate phone number so that the kids don't answer the phone,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could come up with the probably the list that I used to impart. So
Well, Lola, do you remember we talked about me being a new father and you telling me in no uncertain terms how much time and energy I would be putting into fatherhood? And because I told you I was going to be a stay-at-home dad and I was going to try to run a business as well. And I think your first reaction was laughter. And rightly so. You know, I have to say, without a good partner working with me, my wife, I don't know how I would manage it.
yeah. Oh, here comes Jay. But you were saying that you were thinking that you might like to or you thought about having a separate office somewhere else, and I was thinking about Jay who just arrived here. I don't know if you've ever met Jay Neal, Matthew.
No, I haven't had the pleasure. Hello, Jay.
Yeah.
Perhaps it was at a cafe in France. I don't know.
Well, Jay used to had spoken at Host a number of times. So,
Yeah.
but I was thinking of Jay when you said that because Jay had a separate office at one time, and now he's working from home. So, but I think you would agree, Jay, that you do have to have a separate location within
Oh,
the home.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether it be like a spare bedroom, a closet can work. You just take the doors. Honestly, like you can have you just have to sacrifice the closet space, and then you have these upright, create one of those upright computer desks, take out the door, and then it's good to go. But
Yeah. Well, Matthew says he has a separate space, and his children knows
Awesome.
that when the door is closed, he's working.
Yeah.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's times that I miss the entire office that I had. So, but it was starting to turn more into a man cave than an actual office. So, a couple leather couches, big screen TVs. Like I was just getting a little carried away. I thought, all right, well, it's time to, because I didn't have that many clients coming to visit me. Whereas, it's just kind of a virtual world. So.
You're making me rethink that because if I could make it into a man cave, I would actually go for a separate office.
Right.
Well, for what it's worth, at one point several years ago, 15 years ago now, when I was still in Victoria, I had two office areas. I had my office area for doing computer stuff. And then the basement, which I had commandeered because I needed to work on stained glass and stuff. Couldn't do it in the main part of the house, would have made a terrible mess. But in the basement, it was just perfect for that. So,
That was the man cave, was it?
Not really. I mean, it was, the roof was really low. I had to duck between the joists or whatever you want to call them above my head. But it was a perfect space for me to do the stained glass work. I did that for quite a while. It was great.
Right on.
You mean it was just a cave?
It wasn't a man cave, it was just a cave.
It lacked certain things like a coffee maker.
You can fix that easily enough.
I know, but I'm complaining just a wee bit. Actually, it was nice, but it was also cold down there because we had no heat. But still, it was a good place to do that work.
Right.
It was fun.
Right on.
Yeah.
So I see David has his hand up. He knows how to do that electronically.
Yes. Being one of the moderators, I tried to help out and do it that way. My question is, do you run a schedule, and what do you use to keep the schedule?
Yes, I have to. I've become a schedule junkie. And what I use, I love putting pen to paper. As a writer, I find it extremely gratifying to just be able to sit down first thing in the morning and to write out a plan for the day. And I use a journal, which I journal in as well as write all my notes
right
day by day, every day.
Yeah.
I use something called the bullet system. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but it's a really interesting process that someone came up with, and I can send a link.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
it's
Bullet
the
system.
yeah, it's a bullet journaling system,
Okay.
and it has a lot of good advice as to how to separate and isolate and to pull out certain things that are important.
Mhm.
So I have projects that I'm working on, and I put up project boards so that I can track it, and I also
Mhm.
make sure that I use Google Calendars, because
Mhm.
with Google Calendars you can set up tasks. You can set up. You probably are all aware of how well it works. But
Yes.
I find that if I have it, the important things in both places, then I don't lose track. And
Mhm.
as I said earlier, I have to schedule time first thing in the morning before the kids get up, because every morning I'm getting them up at 7, and then I'm getting out the door to school by 8:30, because I'm responsible for the mornings. My
Mhm.
wife is definitely the evening person, and I'm definitely not. So then at 8:30, I can start with my first client meetings, and then I go from there to
Mhm.
blocking off time where I won't answer the phone in the early or late morning and early afternoon.
Mhm.
So yeah, I really depend on a schedule, because when the kids come back at 2:30, it doesn't matter what I have planned. I mean, their priorities are their priorities, and they're excited and they want to see me and they want to play.
Of
So
course.
by 2:30, I have to shut down for a while until I do a little more in the evening.
Mhm. Yeah.
The biggest challenge I've found is, as you all know, building a business takes time, and you can be working from, if you had nothing else to focus on, you could put 60 hours in easily, more, 80, even 100 for some people. But you can't do that when you have a home office and you're dealing with family and so on,
Mhm.
at least not young kids.
No,
I'm
that's
sure there'll be
true.
a time when they're going to be totally ignoring me and they won't want to talk to me at all, and that'll probably be good for business, but I don't know if it'll be good for family. So
Well, the family dynamic does change. There's no question.
cool.
So I see that Javita says, Jay always suggested a to-do list. Is it like something to-do list? She's trying to be funny, I think. So I really wanted to make sure that we sort of cover some of the interesting things that you've done, Matthew. Um, I'm also aware that you were very heavily involved with this organization called, I was going to say EFCN, Elder
That's it.
Friendly
Community network.
Community Network.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a number of networking events that you moderated. And I know that you're connected somehow to Roy, who has some sort of an elders network or online thing. So, and then you did mention that you were involved with senior living when it was starting up, etc. So, what is it about seniors that attracted you?
That's a great question, actually. Well, the reason why I moved to Victoria was to help my grandparents 30
Ah,
years ago.
I see.
And I've always looked at senior, the word senior, like a lot of people have a problem with the word senior. I don't. I see it as seniority of life. You've gained seniority. You're a
Right.
senior because you've gone through the hard knocks of life. You've come out the other side. You have some wisdom.
Mhm.
And I've always enjoyed stories. And of course, who tells a better story than someone who's gone through a lot of stories, had a lot of life to live, and they tell good stories. And both my grandfathers were excellent storytellers, and so was my grandmother, Dorothy, who wrote for a living as a young child novelist for teens. So
Mm.
stories and seniors have always been a huge component of my life.
Ah,
I like nothing better than to sit down with someone who's had gone through something really intense in their life, and they've come out the other side, and they have a good story to tell. It's always fascinating. So for me, it was an easy step to go from writing to wanting to be involved with helping older people tell their stories, and that's what
mhm,
senior living was all about.
mhm.
And that's continued. I work with Roy Summerhays, who owns a website called seniors101.ca.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons, actually, when I met Roy, it wasn't on good terms because I was out trying to sell our own website, Senior Living's website. And I met this lady named Jessica Stigant at the Berwick. She was a marketing manager there.
Mhm.
And she looked at me after I gave my pitch on the website and how much traffic it got. And she said, you know, that's all nice, Matthew, but I get way more traffic for way less money with Seniors 101. I said, what's Seniors 101? So she showed me this provincial looking website, which was just a collection of lists and contacts and things. And I'm like, who put that together? Being a bit of a snob that I was. I've learned a bit of humility since, I hope. And she explained who Roy was. And so I met Roy and I talked to him and found out what a great guy he is. He's an ex-English Bobby who decided to do something different. And he's had this site running now for 15 years, which means it's got a lot of power as far as Google search is concerned. And we started working together because he's awesome. And we recently put together a seniors directory for Nanaimo. A printed directory. We decided to get into print with him for him the first time. We printed 2,000 of them. I designed it. He put together the lists. We edited it with several people, and now it's out there and it's being picked up by Home and Community Care and by Vancouver Island Health Authority, and they like it so much we decided to do one for Victoria. So that's coming out in March. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah, I know he's become a great friend. We have health and safety meetings at least once a month, and health and safety meetings are meeting at a pub having a beer.
Well, that sounds like health and safety.
It is. Well, it's not. But yeah, so yeah, and you alluded to Elder Friendly Community Network. I got involved with that when it first started. About 8 women in the not-for-profit sector put together this group, and I and one other, Val Seafelt, who's now she now lives in Spain. We were the only for-profit people who attended the meeting. And then the next year, they all had busy schedules and they all quit. And so it was just Val and I in the second year of EFCN. So we took it from there. And I think it was running for about, sort of just after senior living. So
it was quite a few. It was several years. Yeah.
So 14 years. It's been on hiatus over the last year, obviously. A lot of things, but it's coming back again. It's basically what it is. It's like it's basically a grassroots movement of nonprofit, for-profit, academic, and public education representatives from each of those sectors coming together to network and to better learn how to serve elders in our community.
Yeah. So I always found it very informative. You always had really, really good speakers, and I always found it was great. So does anybody else? I don't want to be the only one asking questions here. Anybody else have any curiosity about working from home, doing marketing and writing? Any other questions?
I mean, it may have already. Go ahead, Vivek.
What impact has COVID had on your, the stuff that you do and your business, etc., the way you do things?
Well, a lot more of these kind of meetings, a lot less face-to-face. I have to say that I was worried when things started. I mean, I lost 3 really good clients. 2 of them were in the tourism sector, and both of them are no longer in business. Because what I do now is marketing and writing and do lots of content creation. Our company is all about creating content, essentially. So when we lost them, it's like, oh, okay, what's going to happen? But one of my clients was a women's fashion boutique up in Mill Bay. And I had been telling her for years that it'd be a good idea to go online. We had a conversation about 2 weeks before it happened. I said, it's possible you'll have to close your store. And then what? And she didn't believe it at all. And I kind of believed it, but not really. But it happened. She had to close her store. So we got busy and we got her online really quickly, 2 weeks, because we didn't have a lot of other things to do at the time. And she wouldn't have been able to pay her rent much or food for her table if she hadn't done something. So we pulled out all the stops, and she was able to pull in $10,000 in her first month through online sales. Which, didn't compare to her physical store, but it certainly kept the wolves from the door for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I got really busy, actually, because more and more people wanted to go online. And I'm sure you found the same thing, Dave. More people are paying more attention to not only their websites, but how they want to run their business.
Yeah.
And so they're changing things and so on. I got busy. Cash flow slowed down, but I got busy.
Yeah.
Well, people weren't able to pay their bills as quickly, obviously,
Mhm.
and we had to be sensitive to that, as we all have had to be. And we grew, actually. I know a lot of businesses suffered, but we actually grew, and it was okay for us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how did you find it, Dave?
Sorry.
What
It,
did you
it
find?
grew for me, but not as big as I wanted it to. I got sidetracked with. I also do real estate, and real estate market just boomed, and we've been buried. I mean, we had 9 closings this month, and it just takes. It's unbelievable how much time it sucks away from you. Um, so I've not been taking on too many new clients because I don't know if I can service them until the real estate market settles down a little bit, and that's coming. Um, a lot's going to depend on what happens in this election because they're getting ready to let the foreclosures come through. So people that haven't been able to pay their mortgages and whatnot are going to be um, removed from their homes, and once those houses hit the market, it's going to make it so it's uh, it's just going to slow everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you?
In Illinois,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Rock Falls, Illinois. I mean, uh, we're out on the west side of Illinois in the northern portion,
Mm-hmm.
away from the cities, away from we're a bunch of cornfields is what we are.
Cool.
But yeah, it's been a little bit frustrating because I'd love to be able to go the other way more with the websites, but it just you got to make hay when the sun's shining because it'll rain one of these days, and then I'll have all the time in the world, and that's when I can really dedicate to the business. So
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people who, I think, Nathan, you do content. I don't know how it's affected you. I'm sorry, Lolan, I probably shouldn't be asking these questions. This is
Fine.
how's
This
it
is
affected you?
this is the way it's supposed to go.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, I'm curious. Like Nathan, have you found that more people are asking for content now? More people need.
Actually, what's been happening is I wound up doing something really controversial a while ago. I lucked into a deal where I'm now part of the masthead of a magazine down here called Vallarta Today. And so I've been experimenting with guest posting. And I did a guest post a while ago, which I also posted on Facebook. And um, I think the title was if you've been scared of the coronavirus, you're suffering from the effects of mind control. So as you can imagine, that was pretty controversial. On Facebook, I wound up with about at least half a dozen haters, but I also wound up with people reaching out to me and wanting to talk to me. And one guy actually suggested that I form a group down here for, well, like-minded people who have a good idea of what's going on they're not seduced by so much of the media government stuff. But anyway, so of those people, they're saying to me, we need help. And one guy I've spoken to already, what's been happening, another thing that happened is a colleague of mine gave me his system for building an online business, which I've seen pieces of it before, but never seen it in the way that he built it, and I really like it. But the funny part is with one of these new guys, clients I'll be talking to, I already know what he needs, and it's lead generation. So and there's so many different ways that you can do that. And I've got all these different tools that I have to mess around with and see which one is most effective. But that's what's going on. And that's what I'm doing with Vallarta today. As of yesterday, I made the commitment to post 5 days a week for a month.
Whew.
We'll see what happens. Well, I've got the content. And I've got the ear of the staff. I mean, I'm part of the staff now, so I'm just posting a lot of stuff with a call to action at the bottom, and we'll see where it goes. And that's it.
Yeah. Doing posting is actually how I cut my teeth on the content industry. I would post for other people's social media who weren't using third-party stuff anymore, because the third-party stuff was not getting any reach and it wasn't that good. So I was creating posts for people that were specific to their business and the time, whatever was going on in their industry. So it's an interesting thing to do. I think you'll find it enjoyable.
I hope so. We'll see. It's like I said, I just started with doing it. That one article, when it went up, it had 1,600 views in I think it was 36 hours, and it topped out at 2,200 a few days ago. But it's still going up. It's pretty obvious to me that it was a good article, but man, did it ever piss some people off. Yeah. Oh man, I was called every name under the sun for that article.
Right.
I think Jay had a question before I interrupted him.
I was just going to see if he wanted to chime in.
I forgot. I forgot what it was.
Got distracted.
Yeah, it's a shiny object of some sort.
Right.
Yeah, it's gone.
Well, Matthew. So I'm gathering that you, throughout your business life, you've also learned how to create websites, and you've obviously learned something about social media as well. So not unlike the rest of us, have all had to learn a lot of those things.
I will say that creating websites was not my go-to. I didn't want to do it.
Oh, really?
I didn't. I honestly, I wanted to create content. So what happened is I really started to get going when I approached other companies that build websites, and I said, okay, you have a challenge, and the challenge is you've got a client who you've contracted with, and you've made a nice looking website. Now it needs content, and you keep asking them for content, and
they don't produce it.
The wind is blowing, the brambles are traveling across the landscape, the shutters are flapping in the breeze, nothing's happening. You're not hearing anything, and they're not getting back to you. It's taking time.
Sounds familiar, right, Dave?
And so I said to them, look, all you need is someone like me to tackle them, and I'll interview them. I'll turn that interview into really good, viable content, which will not only make you happy because you'll have something to post on the web and get it done so you can build them, but it'll make them happy because I'll make sure that it's good content that's going to draw attention and draw leads. So that worked really well, and I only had to go to 2 companies, and they both took me up on it, and they both made me super busy. So I didn't want to create websites. I just sort of came along with, when I was talking to people separate from them, I would say, yeah, I create content. Well, do you want to make my website too? No. But I hired some people to help me out, and I've made a few myself now. I've used everything from, there's a drag and drop sites like Wix and Weebly, which are okay, but they don't really, there's a lot of controversy out there, but I haven't been able to see that they're as good for for ranking well. I have a more difficult time ranking, and I really enjoy using the Yoast plugin for WordPress because it's so granular in its detail, and you can control what you're doing for the website, because a lot of the things that people do is they'll create keywords for a page on a website, and they don't understand that, and Dave, you can attest to this, they don't necessarily understand that people aren't coming in the front door of the website. It's not the home page necessarily. They're coming in on a page that the keyword trips. So we want to get the keywords associated with that page to rank. And what a lot of people do is they actually cannibalize their own keywords with pages of their own website, because Google's not going to deliver more than one page for one set of long tail keyword. they're going to deliver different results, and they're not going to necessarily deliver 2 of your pages for the same keywords. And so you need to kind of plan a strategy where you have, all your pages talking about different things around your business and then driving traffic inwards. So I'm sure you guys have talked about that, and you probably know a lot about that already. But
Jay is an expert on it as well.
Oh, good, Jay. We'll have to talk some more.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Well, I should ask. Do you agree with what I'm saying, or am I out to lunch?
I mean, I can talk for hours in terms of the topic. So it's your platform. I mean, absolutely. Carry on, my wayward son.
Well, we're a little bit beyond the half hour, but I was thinking that to leave us a little bit of time to socialize off line or off the recording, that I would like. Oh, there, Nathan has had to drop away already. So, but I did want to ask you, Matthew, was there any announcement or anything that you would like to promote, or maybe say something about your next project as a way of our finishing off here this morning?
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm going to be launching the Victoria Seniors Directory with Roy in March. Yeah, well, all I would say is if you guys are ever in Victoria, then definitely look me up, and love to meet you in person when it's possible. And I don't know I know where some of you are. Where are you, Jay?
It was a city once known as Langford, but now we're West Shore.
West Shore, okay.
I can show you my gang tattoo if you want.
Yeah, but no, I just, if anybody has any need to, I guess most of you, Lowland, to talk to older adults through the directory, then definitely have a conversation with me. But otherwise, yeah, I'm just delighted to be part of this circle, to learn and network with you guys. So thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
And yeah, you are most welcome. I know you have a conflict right now, but when that conflict disappears, be sure and join us for sure. Yeah. So based on that, and thank you very much for coming along. It was really nice to really catch up with you. And so I usually end us off by saying, reminding everyone it's important to do what you love with passion, and to just say we're going to talk about Discord next week. We talked about community last time, and where community should be. And I think I did raise the topic of Discord. And since then, Vivek and I went in and explored all around. So we thought maybe we would just share what we discovered about Discord. So with that, I say see you all next week. And I will put my